Welcome back. This is nice to meet you. I am Grace. Have you tried out the guessing game of our previous episodes before? It will be great if you do so. You can also support us by giving 5 stars rating in the podcast platform. Different generation lives in different social environment. Each generation has their own common experiences and problems. In today's episode, we have invited Jeeva and Elizabeth from the Millennials, Gen Y, and the Internet generation, Gen Z, to talk about their stories.
Okay, so for Elizabeth, I think she's from KL. So I think her favorite hobby is playing games and maybe in musical instrument. And I think she accepted this activity because it will be fun and something new. And I think something that she would like to change currently would be to travel more.
I reply my answers first. I am from around KL. I'm from Kajang specifically. What was the next one? Oh, my hobbies. You could say, but not guitar. I'm not that good at guitar. I do play the piano as my own hobby, and my other hobbies include photography and also reading. And yeah, it's also hanging out with my friends. Just to reply to her guest, like musical is correct, but I'm more of a piano than better than guitar. I'm better at piano. I wrote traveling, which is true to a certain degree, but I must have other hobbies because or else MCO I can't travel, right? So my other hobbies include things such as these and something that I would like to change. Sorry?
Because of MCO, what did you say?
Yeah, because of MCO, I can't take traveling as my only hobby. I wrote that traveling was my hobby. Like I would like to, but honestly, and not really that much. I can't really do it that much. Something that I would like to change in my current life with not much actually. Of course, now that you say travel more, I do want to travel more. But my initial answer was nothing much because I'm quite happy with the things to come. Yeah, that I'm things that I'm planning to do. So I'm quite content right now.
Oh, that's good.
My guess for you would be that you're from. I wrote Malaysia, which is not a really non-answer. So I'm also guessing KL, and that your favorite hobby would also I wrote traveling too coincidentally. So I think that your hobby might be traveling, and you accepted the invitation to attend this activity because you know somebody from the attention go. So and that something that you would like to change is actually I have no guess. That's why I wrote that you're quite content with your life and you have nothing that you want to change. So that is my guess for you.
Okay. I think you're almost there. When you said I'm from KL, yes, indeed I am from KL. And my favorite hobby is reading and watching movie at the moment. And the reason why I joined, you're right, it's because I know them. So I know the moderator and the producer. And also because I wanted to try this. This is something very new, right? I always listen to podcasts. I've never really been in one. So I want to know how it goes. And if there's something I want to change is I actually wrote this to adapt to the, new trend. There's so many new things going on and I feel like I'm very outdated. So I just want to, explore new aspect. So that's all that I want to change. Nothing much. Besides that, I'm actually very contented with what I have right now. So Elizabeth, maybe you can tell me something about yourself, like what you're doing right now. I know you're 20 years old.
Yeah, I am 20. Yes. I applied for uni in Singapore. So I got accepted. So I will be traveling to Singapore at the end of July for
Oh, that's
my
cool.
new school. Sorry?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm quite excited. So that's also why I said I'm quite content with how things are going. Previously, I studied in a private school. So
Mhm.
I graduated with an American high school diploma, but
I
in
see.
Malaysia. Yeah. So
I
I'm
see.
from a private school.
So I'm a teacher. Currently, I'm taking up new things. I started learning swimming, so that is fun. But the only disadvantage of swimming is they promised me adult swimming class, but my swim mates are all 4 and 5 years old kids. So I looked like Predator. My first class, I looked like Predator. I was the only adult there. The rest was so small, but they could swim better than me. So that is something very new for me. So my next class is tomorrow. So not very excited about that. So that that's the only new thing going on. I was born in 1989. So I should be
Math
when
pass.
was it? 33, yeah. 33 this year.
That actually is quite close to my guess because there was a section about guessing our age. I forgot about that. And then I wrote 35. So I guess I'm like I was 2 years off, but it's close
Yeah,
enough for
that's
me.
what.
All right. The first one is I guess that you got your first personal mobile phone at the age of, but then I realized my guess is way off. Yeah,
Just
it's
tell
way
me.
off because I put 35 for some reason. I guess your age is 35, and then at that moment I put 35. So doesn't make sense. I'm trying to guess like because like my logic was that because mobile phones was something that only became a personal item around the years that I was born, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's probably around there, depending on how old are you. So I'm rewriting my guess to be about 20 or so, I guess. Because although you might have seen mobile phones, but because in the earlier days, so-called earlier days, uh, the young people did not have access to mobile phones as it's not as convenient as now that everybody can get one so easily. Like mobile phones were a big thing. Like you get a flip phone, you'll be like the talk of the school or something. So I'm guessing around 20, and that you will spend about 6 hours or more on your mobile phone, depending on work requirements also, and that most of the time you use your smartphone to work or chat or maybe scroll Facebook, maybe, and you may dislike social media because of its negative effects. So that is my guess.
Okay. So with the age, Elizabeth, you're almost there. I got it when I was 17. So last time, I mean not that last time lah, huh? So when we were younger, so we handphone was a very big luxury for us, right? So only when you get good grades, or like when during my time, only when we got good grades, like after SPM, we got good grades, then we got the phone, because we used to have landline back then. My father didn't have handphone when he was working. We used to call his office. Yeah, so I was 17. And the only reason we used the phone back then was just to send messages, black and white messages, that weird looking messages. And then now I use my smartphone a lot. It's like I cannot survive without my phone. I'm like with my phone all the time. And as you said, is to connect with people, work related, all this Netflix and all that online. And then also social media. But I like social media currently. Recently I start enjoying social media. I opened my Instagram account this year, so I'm very outdated actually when it comes to that. So I enjoying it actually. So many new things going on. You have to keep up with the trend. If I don't keep up with the trend, it's so difficult to engage with my students. You know how you all construct the words like TBH and all that? It took me forever to know what it means. Yeah, so I've got no choice. Okay, so for Alice birth, I guessed you got your first handphone when you were 10. Okay, guessing from my cousins and all. And you spend about more than 15 hours on your smartphone, basically to log into social media and online classes. And you like social media because it's engaging. That was my guess.
All right. First, I want to comment about your answers. It's quite refreshing to hear actually, because they would participate, but they would be apprehensive about it. They will be like, I've heard bad things about it. Yeah, they would be more careful going about social media and stuff. Like some of them I know they do it for work, but outside of work, they basically do not touch on social media themselves as a personal account. And so my answers, mine is I'm more of the exception rather than the rule. That I got my first personal mobile phone at the age of 19. Yeah. Because it was more of a family decision that my parents be like, we're not gonna give you a mobile phone that early. So it was just something that me and my brother and sister just went through. It was kind of big deal to kids, everybody had a phone. And then you were like the one who has to like, Ma, can I borrow your phone? I want to call my friend. And then it was a hassle to arrange like meetups, because friends could just like text each other, hey, can we meet at the mall? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I have to ask them in school. I have to decide in school, and I have to have all the details before I can go home, and I can tell my mom, Ma, can I go? So it was a bit of a hassle, but for me, it also opened up a lot of opportunities to try other things just simply because I was not on my phone. So it was a good thing for me.
Meaning if you didn't have your phone until you were 19, but you have your desktop with you or something?
No, I had a like family desktop, like we could use for homework, we can use for maybe a bit of multiplayer games with my brother. But I did not really have, I had like maybe a Facebook account.
Okay.
Like I would use the desktop to scroll my Facebook maybe. This was back when I was like 14, 15. But I did not have an actual personal mobile phone. So I'm more of the exception lah, yeah. I spend about 6 hours plus minus on my phone. But given that 6 hours is currently I'm not studying, I'm not working. I'm pretty sure if I'm studying and working, my screen time is gonna go up. I use my smartphone to chat, scroll Instagram, and also I have this side hobby. I don't know if I could call it a hobby, to read up on stuff that interests me. Like maybe they also call it like falling into the rabbit hole, like in Alice in Wonderland. Like suddenly something catches your interest, and then you start reading and reading and reading about. Yeah, I have this tendency to do that. Maybe it's because when I was younger and I did not have a phone, so I really like to read, and I was the kind of kid that read like my encyclopedias and stuff. So I like going through information, and the phone gives me a lot of information that like at the tip of my fingertips, so I could like look up stuff I want. And as Grace mentioned, I deleted my Insta previously for a while because I was trying to graduate. My school, it was not a teaching setting. It's more like we have our own stuff that we have to do, and your speed depends on you. In order to like speed up my graduation, like my friends are graduating, I want to graduate, and a bit of competition there. So I deleted my Instagram app. I did not delete my account. I deleted the app itself, so that I have every day you wake up and then your fingers just go and press the same position, like the app, this app, that app, and then it's like you're unable to do that, and it actually helped a lot. But now that I graduated, Instagram is back on my phone.
You said you only got your phone when you were 19, right? And your friends had phone. Because I remember when I was teaching, we used to send a lot of info online. Like you WhatsApp them and all that. So how do your friends reach you? Do you have that kind of problem when you were?
Yeah, it's because our schoolwork, the thing I think is my school is very different. It's like for government schools or other schools, teacher will give the same homework to everybody. So there will be a more communication and like talking about homework. For us, we have the same curriculum, but your speed depends on yourself. That means you and your friends might be different parts. Like if you say, okay, this quarter everybody is gonna go from chapter 1 to chapter 5, but maybe because it depends on you, you might be on chapter 2 and your friend might be on chapter 6. Of course, you guys can talk about like what is coming next, and because it's the same chapters, but you're not on the same page at the same time.
Oh, this is so cool. But you all will be at school in
Yeah, we'll
class.
be at school doing our own work, and our like places, we call it offices because it's literally a cubicle. So it's like a smaller version of a cubicle, so we just do our own stuff. Yeah.
What does the teacher do? Just be like a
The teacher,
moderator?
I have in our books, right? It's thinner than the textbook. Instead of textbook, they have like thinner books, and then each book has like small tests that you have to pass before you can continue. So it's the tests are quite frequent, but they are easier, like manageable, more manageable for us because it's frequent and the info is still fresh on our mind. So the teacher is there to facilitate those small tests that we have to pass. So and any questions we have are actually if we don't understand.
Wow, this is so cool. Oh, I'm actually learning something new today.
Oh yeah, about social media, I kind of feel neutral about it because I do scroll it, but I don't really post anything. I have like zero posts. I used to post when I was younger, but now I just don't feel like posting anything. I hid everything, so my profile is kind of empty. So maybe if something tasty, like I go out for a meal, then maybe I would take a picture and post a story. But that's about it lah. Mostly my Instagram is for chatting with friends also and scrolling. Looking at others, not myself.
I think it's more fun this way. I'm learning a lot from Elizabeth. It's like something very new, something that you don't see every day, you see? Something that you don't really expect.
How did you start like teaching? Was it something that you wanted to do? Or was it like something that you found yourself doing?
Ah, interesting question. Okay, so let's see. So when it comes to, I think it's related to the next question actually, because after my SPM, I did my STPM, right? So after my STPM, actually it's not really the best approach to things, but the way I did was back then, due to family's financial situation, I applied for the course that I know I will get for sure. It's like more like a strategic kind of play. So I wanted to go to local U, and I know if I were to apply this particular course, I will definitely get it due to my result. And I wanted that particular university. So the university was my aim. So I joined this teaching course, but I wasn't really interested in teaching. I had a very negative impression on teaching because of the teachers which I saw when I was, schooling time and all. But once I started the course, once I started going for practicals, the whole scenario was different. It was so much fun. You get to see so many different students, and you actually get to see different batch every year. It's not the same. Every single year is different. So you have all these different challenges, and so I started loving the particular job now. So now I'm enjoying teaching. It's fun. So the starting part, it wasn't really my first choice, but so now I'm okay with it. Did I answer your question? Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because I can see how like it was very, some people would say lucky, but I think it also reflects like how some young people are very concerned about, oh, what am I going to do in the future? And of course, there's the economic concern, and there's the interest. Well, am I interested in this? Is this sustainable for me? And many some young people think they have to plan out their whole lives. As like, oh, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this.
Like I realized, like my generation, it was very, how to say, We already have we do not know, like for my case, for example, I do not know all these courses exist, back then when I was doing STPM. Even after I finished STPM, I wasn't aware of anything. It's very limited option for me lah. I'm not sure about the rest, but so I think this new generation, they're very open to a lot of things. You all are very aware. There are so many things out there, so many different courses that you do I've never even heard of before. And and people are making, and the young generation, they're making money out of things that you never knew you could, like dancing in TikTok, and you can make so much money. I didn't know all that was possible, you see. So it's actually quite interesting to see where all this is leading these days. So the education you receive is suitable because it's based on the interests of younger generation, and it's very student oriented. And when it comes to the job, I think the thing that you value the most is appreciation when it comes to the what do you call that, performance, as well as the financial growth aspect of the job. So that's my guess.
Okay, that is scarily accurate. That is scary. It's like almost to the letter accurate. I just say what I wrote inside. Like, I think that the education I received is suitable for my generation because it builds an inquisitive mind and a sustainable work ethic. When it comes to a job, the thing that I value the most is compensation plus career opportunities. Also important, but I did not write in, which is a work-life balance and whether I actually do like the job or not. Besides compensation, I also want to find something that is like at least mildly interesting. Like, I accept the fact that the mundane things may become mundane because it's your job, then it will become mundane. But at least let it be mildly interesting. So yeah, it's scarily accurate. Okay. I shall proceed with my guess. I guess that the education that you have received is suitable for your generation because you were prepared for facing and holding on to opportunities as they come. Because besides the education itself, I think like the environment, which for your generation, from what I heard, you guys really have to step up in order, because there was a lack of information compared to now. There's much more information now. So you guys really had to step out and go for stuff, to be brave enough to ask around, to learn more about things, to be able to get yourself opportunities. Even like opportunities will not present to yourself as much as they would have in this current generation. You guys really have to go for it to find opportunities. So I think that was the case for you, and that when it comes to a job, I wrote the thing that you valued the most is compensation. But I think from what I see, like I can see that you also value the satisfaction that teaching brings to you, because in the first place you already think that the compensation is not enough, but you grew to appreciate your job simply because of the experiences that comes with teaching. And I think that's very admirable and amazing. Yeah, so that's my guess.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. The thing is, yeah, that the second part was right, but the first half of it, the ones I answered was based on my degree aspect of it. So that's why it was different. But whatever you said was 100% right. Like it was exactly like what I thought just now. Remember, the options wasn't much. So we have to like really step up and ask around. If we do not know many people, then you will not know much. So you'll just be in that normal path. So the one I wrote was related to my degree. So I said, like I get to meet new batches of students and all that. So that's why I feel the course that I took was very suitable, because I get to improve myself because I'm moving along with the generation, you see. I'm not left out. So I'm just following the trend. And the another thing I realized was back then during my time, it was very teacher oriented learning. We used to get hit by, the duster, the thing that you used to clean the board. They used to hit us with that when we don't concentrate. But these days it's very different. It's very student oriented. Students are very open to things and they're very opinionated. They've got a lot of things to say. So that could be the reason why when it comes to workforce, you all actually know what you want. We actually, for a very long time, it was like 9 to 5. Okay, you do your job, you get your pay, and you come back. You don't really question much. Even though when we are not happy, it might be not our interest. Like waking up in the morning is difficult itself to go to work, but we'll still go because it's like a trend, like a discipline we were taught. We are a bit, when it comes to that, we are very fearful. We are always like, we must have backup before, we proceed further. So yeah, that is the thing.
But I do appreciate the fact that you guys are still the essence of working hard. Even though you might say that you guys might have like had to have it harder before you can get to the place that you want. But the work ethic of being hardworking is something that we still need, even though we might have better opportunities if we don't work hard at it. Doesn't make a really big difference. I do appreciate, like, I know that for the fact that even though I know what I want, and I know that like many of my same generation friends, like we would do something about it if we see it and we think something should be done. But at the same time, we still have to keep in mind that you still have to work hard for many years before you can get into that position where you're like earning a good pay and having good compensation package, having good work-life balance. Like last time they had a joke like work-life balance, compensation, and career opportunities, pick two. Like you really have to sacrifice a lot before you can get to that stage where like everything is so nice. So really do appreciate that.
Good answer. Yes, it's very true. It's very true.
In your opinion, I think the most one of the important issues that you might care about is how it becomes harder for young people to buy any property or car or anything big stuff in general in this economy. Why I wrote this answer that the other night was because I read about how the newer generation is actually poorer than their parents because of course the inflation in the housing prices, and also the young generations, for example, might earn like 25 bucks an hour, and then their mom may be like, hey, you have it good now because I used to earn about 8 bucks per hour. But then if you adjust for inflation, right, it's like slightly above what their kids earn in today's day. So it's something that I happened to read before I answered this. So my answer was that. And that last but not least, you feel that something you can learn from my generation is, I seriously don't know and want to hear their answer. Because I know that for your generation, my generation, we're not actually that far. Honestly, a lot of people your age we can still relate more compared to maybe people of my parents' age or people who were simply, they came into technology not when they were young, especially this, that they had to learn it as part of maybe their job requires, or they know about WhatsApp and they're like, okay, I want to connect with my children. But for you, I think it's more also like me, that we learn about technology when we were still young people, and then as young people we do more with the technology on hand. So I'm not too sure what you can learn from my generation. That is my answer.
So I got a bit mixed up. The way I wrote was, my answer is so weird here. I actually left the top part blank. Like what you mentioned just now, and similar to, like you said, the age gap is not that much, between generation Y and Z. It's almost the same. It's just that if our generation takes the effort, we can still catch up. Unlike generation X, if they don't make the effort, they cannot, keep up with it, except for like if the job requires them to use technology, then they can, right? So I'm not sure whether my answer is going to make sense or not. So now I'm supposed to tell you what I actually wrote, right? For my answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it is true what you talked about, how your generation is poorer. It's not just yours, even mine. We got not enough money. When you pay off the housing loan, you've got no more money in hand. It's so expensive. Now that they've taken all the subsidized part, it's very stressful to see news these days. So I stopped reading news for time being. Everything is so expensive. So that part is true. But what I was very concerned about is maybe because when I wrote this, I went into teacher mode or something. So it was more on stress and mental health, especially. I'm not sure whether you all are aware of this. Uh, like this year, especially after the 2 years lockdown, right? Students cannot cope being at school. They cannot cope being with other students. They cannot cope with the syllabus. So a lot of them are under a lot of stress, a lot of mental breakdown, a lot of cases. We have to change our style as well. We cannot be harsh on them anymore. You cannot scold them. Like you get so triggered, but you cannot really say anything because they are so fragile, because they are not used to people. Like if you do a bit, they just break. It's very, I feel the mental health is a very serious issue these days, especially for those who stayed at home for too long without anyone to talk to. So that was my concern. And so I was talking about how we should do practice all this self-care and all that, and seek help. Don't be alone. So many cases in school until I got very worried. And then what I thought you can learn from my generation was, I'm not even sure whether this is the right answer. So I wrote, not giving up before, how sometimes we'll be in a race, before we, reach the finish line, we tend to give up. I realized a lot when it comes to younger generation, when the pressure is slightly higher, they tend to opt for other methods. You see, they don't like try to finish it. So that's what I thought, perseverance in attempting a task you can learn from our generation. Not sure whether it's the right answer, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, I do agree with the mental health part. It's quite amusing to find that, like, as an outsider, one would expect the Gen Z person to say something about mental health and the Gen Y person to say something about the economy. But we happen to switch places. So yeah, that was interesting.
It is true. Actually, I didn't expect the answer from you just now. First, I'd like to say thank you for actually inviting me for today's, this conversation. It's been fun. I didn't know. I learned so many things today. It was fun. It was very eye-opening kind of conversation. It wasn't very intense. It was, very relaxed and all that. And what I want to say to Elizabeth is, as of course, good luck. Okay, have a lot of fun. Okay, you please keep in touch. I hope to hear more from you. It's very fun, the course that you're gonna do. I've never heard about it before, so it'll be fun to hear more. That is all.
Thank you.
You actually have a perception of how the other speaker is gonna talk about, or what you have something to expect, but when you start having the conversation, the answers are different. You actually learn more about the other side, about the other person. So I think I don't mind inviting my friends, or I'm not sure whether what if they're free or what, but I don't think so they mind. I can do that in class. Actually, it's quite fun.
The first time I've heard about this initiative was like one day in church, and Grace just walked out like, "Hey, I'm thinking of starting a podcast," and I was like, "Oh, interesting." That time, like, you guys still haven't a name. You haven't you guys don't know what you're gonna talk about. Like, I know like maybe she's gonna do maybe student related matters first, and then maybe move into other areas. That's what I heard at first. So I'm like, interesting. And then I didn't I lost track of like what she was doing. And then the next time I heard about it, you guys has already like set up the name, set up the everything, and it's like super established. I'm like, whoa, you guys work quite fast. So I'm quite glad to hear about this, because many people think that, oh, starting a podcast is so much work. I have to put so many things into doing like projects. But personally, personally for myself, how I learn is by doing projects. You can see my hobbies is, as I said, reading up on stuff and just trying out new stuff. That's why I have a somewhat lack of hobbies because my hobby is literally doing new stuff. But I think it's a very admirable effort, and I think you guys gonna get something really good out of it. And whether I would invite my friends to join, well, up to you guys. So it's quite interesting. Like if you want like more perspectives, maybe I can invite my friends if you're interested. Also, thank you for today because it's gonna be a very good story.
Thanks to Jeeva and Elizabeth. Discuss with other netizens by leaving your thoughts in the comment section. For YouTube listeners, click the thumbs up button if you like this episode. We will continue to produce more programs with similar topics. If you think that we are doing something great, be sure to subscribe our podcast, follow Tech Initiative on various social media, and share it to your friends. Remember, no one can represent the whole group of people from their side. Everyone is unique, so you are encouraged to start your own conversation too with our provided outline sheets. You are welcome to take a peek at our official information page for further information. Links are in the show notes section below. We are looking forward to engage more with you. Thank you for your time. Hope you gained something here and see you in the next episode.